says hi.
6 people are waiting on a wish.
God. I'm not doing this all night.
Doing what?
Like, talking about
You probably
Snow
couldn't
White.
even if you wanted to. Oh, is that screen?
Yeah, that's us.
I want that screen to go
Oh,
away.
it is there, yeah. So click on YouTube. Click the little eyeball next to YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't prep and make sure all of my tabs were
SFW.
were appropriate.
Yeah, we are good.
Oh, I can.
Hello, Brittany.
Hey! I can show the audience this, but one of the reactors that I watch, it's like 3 just very normal dudes, and they kind of look like they'd be
the worst.
Like, yeah, like douches, but they're actually very sweet. But they were watching The White Lotus, and I happened to freeze frame it during. Look
They
at
are they have
during
no
Sam
idea.
Rockwell's.
Like, oh no. Sean's here too. Hello.
Hey. Okay.
Do we want to watch anything while we're doing this? Or just talk?
Are there things to watch?
We can just like put something on.
I don't know that we've gotten to that. Maybe we need to, because I don't know. What would we watch? The original Snow White?
God, sure. Yes.
See what it could have been?
Yeah.
I am working. I don't know. See, I'm actually, considering that I'm the one that insists on doing this way, I'm the one who cannot multitask to save my life. So
you are bad at it.
We did get the
tutor corner.
The tutor corner for our Lego city. And so I'm working on that. And we will be getting, it is not released yet, but we will be getting Hobbiton, the Shire, bag in. Everything in Lord of the Rings has 3 names.
Well, okay.
The Shire is the
region.
Yeah. Hobbiton is the town, and Bag End is
Bilbo's house.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi,
so
Amy's here too.
All 3. Hey, hi Amy. Woo!
Early this time.
I'm finishing True Blood right now.
Yeah.
Finishing 11 and 12 right now. Yeah. And then I'm going to have to go into season 5 of Teen Wolf.
Yeah. And we're finishing recording that this week.
Mm-hmm.
We also are almost definitely going to be producing something for The Residents, the new Uzo Aduba show.
We're going to watch it on camera.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably only do one or 2 YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Like we might do a midway point and but we'll see. But there's like so many people in, although, okay. I don't know how I feel about it's gossip. I don't know how I feel about doing this on camera, but It's like, I don't like criticizing people, especially women, for their looks.
Did someone get bad work?
I don't know.
Oh. Should someone be getting work?
I feel like, and I've lost her name now, from Happy Endings.
Casey?
No.
Oh,
Eliza Coupe. She chose a really strong look for the premiere of The Residents because she's in it, and I'm a little bit in that. I don't know. Like I said, I started talking about it before I realized that we were.
Well, I see it. Okay, well, Eliza Coupe, The Residents premiere was the first suggestion, so
I love her. I hope that she's happy and doing great. That's what I have to say about that.
Well, I don't like that dress. And I'm going to stop talking about it.
Yeah. I hope that she's happy and doing great.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my bad for bringing the energy way down immediately. But well, I was gonna say there's so many people that we love in The Residents.
Yeah.
Because Ken Marino is in it, and Giancarlo Esposito and Eliza Coupe.
So he was apparently supposed to be Andre Braugher before he died. So they recast.
Aww.
I love them both.
I mean, that is a lateral move in all the best ways.
I love them both so much. I just love
We
Andre
were
Braugher.
not done.
I was not done with
Andre Bauer by a long shot.
I
I feel like
say,
he had just started to hit his
He had been in multiple long running series before that, but because he was on The Wire, I think. Yeah. But that's the thing is I feel like he had never gotten to do that amount of comedy before, and he was so good at it. And Yeah, I guess the only thing is, like, blessedly, Brooklyn Nine-Nine was over already for, like, a couple years.
Well, I was even going to say, based on what little I've seen of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he had this, like, really soft, gentle nature that feels slightly at odds with he's so big, like, and so imposing.
Well, it was, like, really funny because he was a commanding presence. He was, like, the police captain of the precinct and everything, but then he also, like, every once in a while would get very, like, big and blustery, and, like, that was always very funny, but yeah, I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
And also, back to the residence, Kylie is, I'm hoping it's not just a scene. Like, I'm hoping she's actually in. I think she's only listed for one episode, but
I was not suggesting that we, like, pay attention and watch something, to have something on.
We don't like looking at our own.
I can't really look at
our own image 3 seconds delayed.
Yeah. So, IMDb says she's in 2 episodes.
Okay. Because even in one of the trailers, Uzo is like, I've got, you know, like, blah, 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 the Secret Service, the Vice President, blah, 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 and Kylie Minogue breathing down my neck.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
So, how do we want to do this? Do we have a structure? Do you guys want to ask us questions? Do we want to just...
You said you had something to open with.
Well, no, we're going to talk about Snow White.
Yeah.
Like, I know how I want to talk about Snow White.
Yeah.
Are we ready to just
you guys want
dive
Snow
right
White,
in?
Snow White chat now or later? Now and later? Yeah, I could fill a thesis.
But that alone kind of... I have, like, 3 or 4 main gripes with this movie, and, like, only one of them is with the actual movie.
Yeah.
Some of them is I'm like, I am a little bit like, why now? Like, why is this the movie that everyone has decided they're fed up? Like...
I've been fed up forever.
No, I know, but it's like...
Also, Amy says now and later. And Sean says, I haven't seen Snow White. Is it that bad? Yes. In my opinion, yes.
It's not good. It's a mess. Having said that, if you're the type of person, like, if you want to like it, if you think you're going to like it, if you like these things, like, if you are determined to enjoy yourself, you probably will. Like, it is competent enough that if you want to like it, you'll find stuff in it.
I disagree.
I
don't even think it's competent.
I think one of the 4 different movies that it was good. I think it's the other 3 movies that are the problem.
Here's the main thing. After all of the drama we went through with the dwarves, I was expecting that to be my least favorite part, and the dwarves were my favorite part.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What I was going to open with...
And that's not to say they were good.
No.
It was just, in my opinion, that was the best of a bad bunch.
They all had, like, weird vase heads. Like, all of their heads were, like, square in the bottom.
Yeah.
And then they pushed in and then kind of went back out. And I could not figure out what... Because they had, like, just sort of...
You're like, I need to see an anatomical layout of the bones of the dwarf.
Oh, well, a little bit. It's like those things where it's like, is it 2 people kissing or a vase? But it was, like, a dwarf's head. But the bodies were like, proportionate with the height.
Mm-hmm. So for me, they read less as dwarves. They looked like garden gnomes. They were shaped like garden gnomes.
Would that was the case, though. I would love if they were garden gnomes. So is what I was
But then everybody would just be like, oh, why are they garden gnomes?
No, is what I was going to start with. This movie, the whole time I was watching it, because I went in actually kind of prepared to like it. I have a reputation.
I would have welcomed that. I was also trying to be like as even going in as I could, because I was hoping for another Wicked situation where it got so, I was like not excited at all.
Wicked is gonna have broken you so badly.
Yeah.
Because for the next 10 years, you're gonna be like, maybe this is Wicked. And it will have set such an unfair.
Because like, the differences between that are that like nobody ever was like, Wicked is a disaster and they had to go back in and reshoot 90% of it because it was bad and it got delayed a year. That never happened with Wicked. That happened with this, so I already shouldn't have been conflating it, but then it just, like, didn't live up to even, like the low expectations I had for what this movie was going to be.
So, yeah, I have a reputation for being slightly contrarian, and I thought it for a minute, and I kind of embrace it now, but I also sort of try to contextualize it.
Sure.
And it's not so much that I am going to do the opposite of what everybody's doing, but I am very sensitive to the notion of groupthink. I don't like when I feel like everybody just goes with the flow. Like everybody just says, like mob mentality. I don't like that. And so I feel like if everybody is really pushing and especially strongly one direction, I tend to be like, well, wait a minute. Let's hang back. I can't.
Ginger! The air is on, so it's going to stay till the air turns off.
But so I did go into this thinking, I'm sure, like, it's not going to be great, but I'm going to find something I like about it. And almost immediately, I was put off. And I couldn't pinpoint what specifically it was, because I was going through my checklist of things where they built actual sets.
I know who the winner is. I know what it is.
What?
It's her.
I don't know how. We'll get to her in a second. Okay. Is what I wanted to.
Okay, so hold on. First, Sean says the OG was their favorite film for like the entire childhood. I don't think you're gonna like it. And then Amy said we're so funny, which I love.
Thank you.
And then Sean asked, "Is it very woke, like the critics are saying?" And no. Woke is, first of all, woke is nonsense.
It means nothing. It's like meaningless now, and that's part of where it's like this movie has gotten caught in the crosshairs of the world's single dumbest culture fight. Yeah. Like, and I mean that everywhere, all sides, because it's sort of like you get the sense that they were trying to please, like,
that's the problem.
Both or all camps, and so they please none. But so, anyways.
Also, James, you're not late. We just started.
The word that I kept settling on, and it's one that I use semi-frequently, but I think it applies, is uncanny. There was something about it that felt uncanny. It looked like a movie. It sounded like a movie. It felt like a movie, and yet it wasn't. It was so contrived, and it dawned on me that it is the Kendall Jenner Pepsi commercial.
That was woke.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, you spent a lot of money to say nothing. And you're so proud of the job that you've done saying nothing, because it's all coming from corporate interest. And believe me, I get the whole corporate. Like, you gotta please corporate. That's how we're doing any of this.
Yeah, but like somebody creative needs to push back against corporate and say this movie's gonna make money even if it's not appealing to your 4 stupid quadrants. Like, not everything has to appeal to all the quadrants. Some movies are just for some people.
Well, and we got this notion that, like, these movies, especially the Disney animated movies, we have this belief that I think is faulty, that they are children's movies for children exclusively. And it's like, no, they are family movies. They're general audience movies. Children should be able to watch them. Children will probably take more from them than an adult will. So in that sense, I think it's good to keep that in mind and possibly even cater to a younger audience. But I feel very strongly, obviously, about the fairy tales, and I feel like they're romance stories. I feel like these for me should be Ever After, or Twilight, or I mean even the teen 10 Things I Hate About You, like, and we can split the difference. I mean, we can make them family friendly or children's, movies, but with that distinction, Disney got it in its head, and it came from a place. Like, I think people were overly critical of the Disney movies. There was a big pushback in like the 2000s. Like, I remember arguing with my friends in college in 2006 about the bad morals and the bad messages in Disney movies, and they try to be
the
like
old ones.
Yeah, and they try to be like Beauty and the Beast is Stockholm syndrome, and that's a bad message. I'm like, no, it's not. Or the whole Cinderella, she's waiting for a prince to save her, and I'm like, no, she wants to go to the ball. Yeah, you don't understand what these.
Well, it was the kind of like girl power feminism that we had in the late 90s was very like, you don't need no man. And it's like, I could still want one. Like, just because I don't need one doesn't mean I can't still want one. And there's nothing damaging about, like,
but it's
hoping to get out of a bad situation.
And there's nothing wrong with falling in love. And there's nothing wrong with being, and that's one of the places that, Cinderella soared, and I bring it up every single time we talk about it because it's apt, but it's like my favorite review from the live-action Cinderella was they called it refreshingly traditional. And 10 years ago, let alone now, is not a time that I'm looking for tradition. But if that's what it is, if that's because this gets into like the whole casting controversy of her because she's not fair and like she's not white, like fair skinned. So
Rachel Zegler?
Yeah. So
I don't care about that. That's not my issue.
I didn't say that was, but I'm saying
I want that clear to everybody that that's not why I don't like her in this movie.
But it's like, if you're trying to tell a story with like 3 key elements that are sort of at odds with the culture at the moment, maybe now's not the time to tell that story. And so like, to her casting, I will say that like, I have no issue with her being cast in that. And some of it is from a choice. Like, it's just a decision that I made on principle that I will not discriminate against somebody because of the color of their skin. Like,
I can't imagine that we have to say that in the year 2025.
Well, we do, though.
I hate it. I know we do. I hate it.
Like, but having said that, I do think it is deliberately obtuse for Disney to do that to Snow White.
Yeah. And
to pick that character at this point, in this climate. Like I said, and especially to be putting Rachel in that position where she has to carry it, where she has to wear it. Like,
she's fine.
But still, they hang around. I mean, they keep hanging these.
They do kind of
leading ladies out to dry. Like,
I am at a point with her where I kind of dislike her for no reason. I think she was very smug when they were doing press before they got delayed.
I don't understand that talking point either. I've seen one interview with her and Gal from.
There were more
like Comic-Con or something.
Separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like leaning into that, like, she don't need no man. But for me, the crime on a like 1 to 10 scale was at best a 2. The punishment has been an 11.
Okay, it rubbed me so the wrong way, especially because this is like essentially her second job. She got that West Side Story, and she was great in that. I have no issues with her in that. I thought that was a great movie. I thought she did amazing as Maria. I liked that more than I thought I was going to, even though I don't like West Side Story. And then this was basically her second job, and she was just acting the whole time like she would, like, her shit didn't stink. And I was like, I don't like you. And through this movie, I don't like the way she holds her mouth while she sings. It's very
affected,
uncanny and affected and unsettling. And she is a theater actress. She came across like a theater actress, and that is not what we need in this movie.
Yeah, I agree with that part. Yeah. Like I said, maybe I just didn't see it, but I still don't understand the extreme backlash to her, because you go anywhere on the internet, which is your first mistake, but
fair.
You go anywhere on the internet, and the second comment is like, that vile harpy. Like, it'll be a like cold day in hell by the time, and it's so extreme.
Yeah.
Like, so extreme that it's comical to me. I'm like, you just don't like her. This is a level of vitriol.
Yeah, I just don't like her and don't think she was right for this movie, and I didn't like the way she played it. I don't want her to suffer. I
found it.
But if we want to pick on someone who can take it, we can pick on Gal Gadot, because she was awful. He had fun with it.
Okay, no. I tried so hard.
I was embarrassed.
Were you really?
I was embarrassed.
Okay.
Yeah, especially when she was singing that knockoff Sondheim song, because this movie's a musical.
like
They
12 tracks
buried
on the
the
soundtrack
lead.
musical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, sorry, James said after the 2015 Cinderella, Disney should have made Kenneth Branagh the Kevin Feige.
Oh my god.
100%.
Oh my god.
100%. Because he seems to give a shit.
Because that's
He's
another
very smart.
That's
and
another reason why I
mined it for stuff that like didn't necessarily exist in the OG Disney movie.
But that's another reason why I'm like pulling back on my criticism of her, is because I don't think that any of these movies have had an appropriate director. Like, I think Kenneth Branagh for Cinderella. I think Jon Favreau was good for Jungle Book.
Yeah, that's
although, because I'm usually one of the first to kind of defend Jungle Book, and I think largely it's one of the better adaptations. You'll also notice it isn't as hallowed ground. Like, I think maybe that was another place they sort of fucked up. Is because I think I say this every stream that we do, but I'm like, Hercules should get a live action.
So Sean just said, what do you think the next live action one will be? I'm hoping it's Hercules. I'm not hoping it's Hercules. I want them to stop. I don't want there to be any more. I want them to never make another one again, because now we're getting prequels to The Lion King in which Mufasa is adopted.
Well, and so that's another thing, is like, I feel like people are taking their anger out on this movie, and I'm like, it's not good, but I'm like,
anger spans
so much of this. I'm like, take it up with Mufasa,
yeah.
like that. But Mufasa's going to be successful because it's a boy movie.
It already came and went,
but it was successful.
Well.
And that's just how the world works, especially now.
Yeah.
Is you just plop your boys in front of it, and I don't know.
It's ridiculous. Also,
but
Brittany said not a knockoff Sondheim. Yes, it was a knockoff. It was like The Witch from Into the Woods.
It was like Last Midnight meets Bali High from what? I
don't know what that is.
I keep on saying Singing in the Rain. That's not it. The South Pacific.
Oh.
Bali High is calling.
Sure. Yeah. It was that like trill.
Okay, I cackled. I was howling. She can verify. We were in an empty theater.
There were like 6 other people.
I would say 12 max.
12, yeah, like 12 total people in the theater, including us.
I was howling.
Nobody else was there without a child. We were the only people there without a child.
And that's the other thing, because one of the things I was going to fall back on is maybe this is a kid's movie and I'm being unfair, but all the kids got bored.
So bored. So it's an hour and 49 minutes. We were like 45 to an hour in, and it was Russell City. Kids were real antsy in their seats.
Talking,
we got a lot of
like,
snack crinkling all of a sudden. Also, Alicia said, breaking news, this movie is a musical.
Well, because
I was shocked.
I knew at one point, because it was Binge Pasek and
which, like, way to phone it in. You guys have an Oscar. More than one, I think.
So we like them, as is anytime anybody's good, especially if they get an award, it's got to go.
Didn't they do La La Land?
Hunt. Yeah, people hate it. And I'm saying we as in
La La Land?
Oh yeah. No, like no good deed goes unpunished, and that's part of my issue. Is I'm sort of sick with everything and everyone, and I believe me, I understand the irony of me saying that into a microphone in my room on my channel, but I'm not making anybody be here except for her.
You guys. Help.
But no, it's the whole, like, you know, Britney Spears, Jennifer Lawrence, like, anytime, like, a girl, especially, reaches a certain summit, gotta get her out of there. Gotta tear that bitch down. Who does she think she is? And I hate it so much. And I'm like, I'm
not doing that with Rachel Zegler. I am fully comfortable admitting I don't like her for no reason, but I just don't. There's something about, I don't like the cut of her jib. There's something about it.
I liked her. She has, especially in this movie specifically, she has a theater quality. That face she kept making. She over emoted.
I can't even do it. I can't even make my face do that. I don't think I've ever been that earnest in my life.
It's like a...
But the rest, no, it's like it's like it's only her eyebrows do it, because the rest of her is like she's doing a lipstick commercial or something. But not even a commercial, because that's too professional. It's like she is a makeup influencer, so she's doing the like. I hate it. I can't. But then with like a furrowed brow, I can't do it.
I thought I thought she was fine.
I'll allow that. Fine.
I'm standing by the director thing because I did watch Grace Randolph's review, and boy, I tell you, that lady, I fucking love her. I think she's hilarious. She went in on Gal Gadot, and my favorite thing she said was she was like, "Where was the director?" She was like. She was like, if I were directing that, I'd be like, sorry, Gal, we got to do it again. We're going to do it till we get a usable one. Yeah. I'm doing this for you.
James said the only time I liked Gal Gadot in the movie was when she was the old lady, but I'm not even sure if that was her.
I was going to ask you, was that her? Because it was her voice.
It was her voice for sure. And if they did mocap or something.
There was once or twice where I thought, that's her face, but then...
actually, you know what? There was a piece of trivia on the movie on IMDb, and I think she is in that makeup, because I think it was like, it took her so many hours, and I was like, should have saved that time and did something else.
But, again, I'm gonna defend Gal a little bit, because...
4 hours to apply the old crone makeup to Gal Gadot.
Wow.
But it also looked...
It looked good, I thought.
It did, but it also then looked like digital on top
of
it.
Back to what I was saying, I will defend her a little bit because it is a nothing character.
Yeah.
They gave her the original, as I've been referring around the house. Her name is Grimhilda. Mm-hmm. Like,
they don't her the evil queen the whole time.
Yeah, they don't speak it. But I'm like, they could have done something, and I think maybe that was the problem, because I even said to you at one point, I think it was during her musical number, where I'm like, you can't say she's not doing anything, though.
She's doing
like,
something.
She was moving her body, and like, but it was bad, but it was something. And
I'm just like disappointed in Mark Webb.
Going back to the Kenneth Branagh, how he should be the Kevin Feige, which I agree, it's almost like these directors, because the same with Guy Pearce and the same with Rob Marshall and the same with every other one, it's like, are they directing it over Zoom? Like, are they there while it's being directed? Yeah. Because you don't get that sense. And this movie is an hour and 45 minutes. You feel it. And there is stuff added to it, and yet nothing happens. There are so many things, like, we know that the king was good. Believe me, if we know one thing, it's that the king is good. If you take a shot every time she says "my father," you will be dead by Act 3. She said, because I called her Gretchen Wieners halfway through, because
my father,
and she's like certain he's alive, and then they're like, no, he's dead, and then he's just dead. Like, there's no there. Somebody just tells her that. Like, the amount of times that things are just spoken, things are just said in this movie.
Charlize Theron is better. Oh, so, it's making that noise again. We try to make slushies for tonight, and it's not going to stay closed because you're going to have to get up.
No, Snow White and the Huntsman is way better than this.
Yeah.
And I like Snow White and the Huntsman, all things considered.
Yeah.
But there's like, so the king and queen are just and fair rulers, and they rule over the kingdom, and then the queen dies.
So we are just doing the entire thing for you guys. So if you do want us to stop, you're gonna have to stop us.
And then the queen dies, and the king was sad, so he remarries. Mm-hmm. And then the new queen was beautiful and obsessed with gems. Is that what she wants? We don't ever get an actual...
There's no motivation. With all the stuff they added and whatnot, there's no actual motivation for her besides she just wants to be the fairest of them all. And maybe that is the case.
But even that, the movie muddies its own point by making it internal beauty.
Well, it's only about internal beauty at the end when they defeat her. Spoiler alert. I mean, it's a fairy tale.
But it's like, we don't spin... The evil queen doesn't have a single scene to herself. The one that she does is the musical number, which is a fucking musical number.
Because it's also Masquerade from Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't understand who she is. I don't understand what she wants. I don't understand her motivations or what drives her. She's magic, but she doesn't use it except for twice. both times sort of over narration.
Yeah, because that goes into more also of like a Maleficent 2 place where like Michelle Pfeiffer was so interesting. She wasn't magic, but like she was so interesting.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
I mean, obviously, yes.
It's Michelle Pfeiffer. She made Quantum Mania watchable.
Well, barely. KS says she's never been a good actress and I'm tired of pretending like she is about Gal.
I would never say she was. What I will say, because
she has been more than serviceable in many movies, but like it's different.
The way that I have defended her is I've said that for me, she's what I would call a movie star. She's not what I would call an actor. And so when we saw Death on the Nile, because I think we even said it's like a shame that all of these people are problematic now, because I think she was very evenly matched with Armie Hammer.
Yeah.
And it's like,
oh, he's trying to make a comeback.
Oh, I understand. And
talking about his cannibalism on podcasts.
I mean, what else is he gonna do?
Go away and live in your Arm & Hammer money.
Sure. He's claiming he doesn't have money, though.
Bullshit.
Like, I don't know if they... Regardless, we're not talking about him. My point is...
I'd love to now.
I was annoyed by the, like... He, like, hooked up with a guy and talked about it on a podcast, which I found interesting and wish other not problematic people would follow that lead.
Wait, is he an equal opportunity cannibal, or does he only want to eat women?
They weren't eating. He hooked up with the guy. They didn't eat. His point was he like went like he went all the way through. I'm talking like in the bathroom of a restaurant. That's how authentic his.
Okay, all right. Cruising at the restaurant.
Yeah, and he was like it was not working. He was like I just couldn't get past it. But then everybody picked up the story and then everybody and again, I'm not defending him because I don't think he needs defending, but I'm like, media outlets pick up a story and spread it, and everyone gets mad at the person. And it's like, he answered a question on a podcast, however ill-advised or undeserving.
I'm not certain he has a publicist anymore.
This response may be, but I'm like, you're mad at the wrong person. We keep taking things out on the wrong people. And like I truly believe we have a culture problem right now.
People are just pissed that he hooked up with a guy?
They're like, as if he's the one putting it in their news feeds, as if he's coming up to them and being like, isn't this crazy that I did this?
Sure, okay. I get what you're saying, but it's like he did say it in a public forum, and so...
Well, whatever podcast would have him. I mean, everybody has a podcast now with who knows however many... Like, what we're doing right now, I have tons of bad takes that if Upworthy decided that they were going to... Am I aging myself with that? Is Upworthy still a thing?
I don't know.
No, but I'm saying, if I say something stupid on a podcast, and then all of the media outlets put it on Instagram with headlines, blank shocks and admission, like...
Well, that's the other thing, too, is, like, I think it's not so much... I don't necessarily know that it's angry. I think the media has a way of... It's like the clickbait, where it's like, Armie Hammer had gay relationship, and it's like, no, he didn't. He tried to hook up in a bathroom one time, and he didn't like it.
And for me... When I read that, I was kind of like, oh, cool. We need more straight men to destigmatize this thing.
Yeah.
And I just blew right past the Armie Hammer part.
Sure.
But I was saying something, and my thought, it's a thing I've said for a while, but I was like, it used to be in the old world. If Kirsten Dunst said something stupid in German Vogue, you had to be reading German Vogue to know that. But now, because all we do is pick sound bites and I hate it. And I truly think that we have a culture problem. We have access to too much information from too many people, and we prioritize the wrong things for the wrong reasons. And we have now this cancerous Swiss cheese hunk of a culture that's just like, it's holes everywhere, and then the parts that aren't are gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is. Like, I don't know how to move forward other than...
I stopped engaging. I'm not on social media. I look at Instagram.
I need to get...
Because you guys, they send him and our friend Rachel and my husband send me things on Instagram, but Blue Sky's not worth it. Threads isn't worth it. Apparently Threads is also worse for spoilers than Twitter even ever was.
They
and
also
I quit Twitter. I have a Tumblr.
Yeah.
You guys want to follow me on Tumblr?
I keep trying to go back to Tumblr, and I don't think like
Well,
I think
never about the naked boys for me. So
I was gonna say I think it works more for you because I think it suits the.
It's a fandom thing
Yes.
for me. Yeah.
And the type of fandom I'm interested in doesn't thrive on Tumblr anymore. It's like.
What are you interested in?
Oh, when I was on Tumblr, I liked, cunty photo shoots and gifs from, TVs.
There's still that all over.
Well, I was looking and I was not enjoying a lot of what I was finding. I mean, I'm going to keep going, and Twitter is such a vile cesspool. And, huh?
There's no T.
Really?
You said cesspool. No, it's cesspool. Yeah.
Oh.
You're like news to me.
I also stand by it. It's a cesspool.
Sure.
That's where the T went.
I'll let you have it.
No, because I don't pay for an account. Like, I don't participate. I don't post. I lurk because, as is often the case, Twitter is one of the few places where, like, queer people. How do I say what I'm trying to say? I think a lot of it goes back to like sex work, like the cam models and the OnlyFans and stuff. It's one of the only social media outlets where they can exist, and gay people are used to making do with what is available to us. Like, we don't always have the option to have principles over these types of things. And so there's a lot of writers and drag queens and sex workers that I still engage with and entertain and follow. And so I have been lurking. I don't look at the ads. I cover my eyes. They're not getting any of my... But
you just can't click.
It's vile. And that's the thing awful. That's driving me nuts, and I think this is true actually of... I hate the phrase both sides, but I think this is true of both sides, is too many of us are having too many conversations with hypothetical people. Yeah. Or there's far too much, they say this, and they don't want you to have this, and they think, and far too often I'm like, who is they though? I mean, I know the point you're making, and I know the role I play in this interaction, and I'm supposed to, you tell them, but I'm gonna need you to start name them. Like, specifically who said what, when, and where.
That can drag us right into a... You haven't watched any more Housewives.
No, I haven't, and I kind of wish I had. But do you know what I mean? Like, there's all these talking points, all of these toxic, fabricated, bad faith talking points that everybody falls for. And that's one of the reasons why I still want to... I'm
so tired of everybody calling out the hypocrisy of, like, the other side. And I'm like, they know they're hypocrite. It doesn't matter. They just trying
to catch you. They're just trying to catch you in a gotcha.
The hypocrisy is nothing.
And so that was one of the reasons why I did sort of want to talk about this movie, because when it was over, you were like, do you want to do an episode about it, or do you want to do the live stream? And I'm like, I want to talk about it because I have things to say about it. And I also feel like this is something that I do fancy myself learned in.
Yeah, fairy tales.
Like fairy tale movies in particular. Yeah. I feel like I'm qualified to speak on such a thing. And also, I want to have some good faith conversation. Like, I don't want to just fall in, because that's another thing that's happening is it's a much smaller group of people, but there is a group of people that are going into this movie whole hog, like 10 out of 10, the best one that we've had since Cinderella. And it's like, no, you're fighting the culture war, and you're just using this as your...
Beauty and the Beast was better than this. And we are mixed about Beauty and the Beast. I also, Brown Bunny said Saxon and Lachlan putting the cest in cesspool. Solid joke.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I had more that I was saying, and I'm not done.
You had a whole head of steam going. Good job.
But no, back to the movie. What I was saying, I never got a sense of what we were doing. Like, who, other than the fact that the movie literally says this is the evil queen. She's evil.
Yeah,
She wants Snow White because Snow White's good or pretty or...
Well, she wants to get rid of Snow White because she's, like, a threat to her in some capacity. And I'm like, well, then maybe you should have had a baby with the king. Like, if you wanted someone... There's no replacement factor, because that's the thing that always gets me. And I feel like we talked about it a little bit last time, but I'm like, why do all these, like, demons want a baby? You know, where it's like, what... But this is the opposite, where I'm like, then you need to have a baby so you can shun her out, because there was no talk about whether or not she was immortal, this queen, that if that's what was happening. So I'm like, so what happens when you die? Like, what then? What's gonna happen?
We never got a sense of the mirror. Like,
No.
we don't... And forgive me, but I kind of feel like it should be a character.
Yeah.
Speaking of Giancarlo Esposito, he was the mirror in Once Upon a Time, and he was a character.
I feel like he was doing that at the same time he was doing Breaking Bad,
Yeah.
and that is absolutely crazy to me. That's the kind of actor we need more of. Doing these two totally different things at the same time. But the other thing, and this goes to what you were saying the other day, which we've talked about before too, which is that you said there's one note that they always get at Netflix. Like, when people are making something with Netflix, there's one note no matter what the thing is, which is that the characters need to restate...
It's like every 15 minutes, the characters need to re-explain the plot, what they're doing, and because people don't watch movies anymore.
Then you shouldn't be allowed to have a Netflix account.
It's like people put things on in the background or play on their phone and wait for the movie to grip them, I guess.
No.
But then they've missed half of it.
That's why when I'm doing something else, I put on Bob's Burgers or like a sitcom I've seen 100 times. Like, I am not putting something brand new on when I'm not willing to pay attention to it. That's insane.
Because that's another thing I was going to say about this movie is content. It's not a movie.
No, correct. Because that's what I was going to bring it back around to that. Because the issue that I was having is, in addition to how many times she mentioned her father and how many things were good and true and all of this, she is literally wearing a necklace that states the themes of the movie on it. And it is a plot point.
And this is beyond Have Courage and Be Kind, which frankly, I thought that was clunky in 2015 when that one.
I'm like begging for my kingdom for Have Courage and Be Kind, like killing me.
Because it's like 4 words.
It's like kind, brave,
beauty, truth, and love.
Yeah. That's good too.
No, I know. Moulin Rouge is better. But there's this sense of urgency from the people in the plot, but there's never a that wasn't felt for me in the audience. Like, I was very much watching people go through the motions, and I will say there was a couple points that I actually was engaged by the movie, one of which was the haunted forest. I kind of loved that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wish this scene was longer, because it was like, was it even a minute long?
No.
Like, that should have been a tent pole, or that should have been a big part of the movie. And again, it's one of the parts that really worked for me. And another part that worked for me, and I feel like this is controversial, but I'm brave, so I'm going to say it. Whistle While You worked for me.
It was great.
Oh, you liked it?
Hi Ho and Whistle While You Work were great. The dwarves, again, my favorite part. And someone asked about Dopey. I thought Dopey was absolutely fantastic and the best part of the movie until he actually spoke words. And then I was like, no thanks. I was like, I wish you hadn't done that.
They don't say the words, but it's like more of like an on the spectrum place.
Yeah.
But in
fearless, fair, brave, and true.
Sure.
It's hideous. It's like all those like Kay Jewelers Valentine's Day necklaces. Just like, it's $100. Is it silver? Why is it $100?
I mean, it's probably silver plated, but
that's even worse. Nickel-free artisan brass, antiqued silver-plated finish. Horrible. That's the thing. It's like this. It just feels like money. They just want money.
And I'm trying to make sure that I'm
I get
finishing.
money. I want money. I just not at the cost of every ounce of my integrity.
I'm trying to finish some of the
Sorry.
plots that I started, and then I fucking forgot it again. This is basically what Will has to deal with, editing.
Well, it's cool because he's having to edit himself now too.
Not so easy, is it? I guess I'll go to the dwarves. So, I think something. I'm trying to think of how I want to approach this. There was controversy about the dwarves, and it seemed like a mess.
Yeah.
The whole way around, because some people, kind of spearheaded by Peter Dinklage, was like, enough. Let's stop doing this. Stop trivializing, dwarfism, little people. Stop maligning us to this, like, magical, like, hi-ho thing in the woods. And then there was another group of people that was like, but you better represent them right. So if you're gonna do it, then you need to be picking people with dwarfism, and not, like, why would you take away an opportunity from a, like, maligned or, like, an underrepresented group?
Well, nearly every single one of these people who are voicing the dwarves are average sized.
So what I think was in the original script, it was just the bandits. Because there's this weird disconnect in the movie.
Yeah. Well, then I wish they had just stuck with that, because the bandits were nothing. They're...
Well, have we even explained it? Hold on.
Okay.
This movie gets... Its engine gets revving like 4 different times.
But it doesn't stay.
But each time it's like a... And so I kept having moments where I was like, okay, well, maybe now the movie's going to start. Like, maybe now it's going to work. And we keep bringing it to a halt. And so when she's in the forest, we meet the dwarves. We do hi-ho. The mine stuff was actually really cool.
It was. I do have kind of a bone to pick, because, like, is someone making them do this? Do they do this on their own? Where do the jewels go?
The movie doesn't explain.
Is there some sort of bureaucracy?
No, the movie, and
are there taxes on these jewels?
But this is back to my whole, like, the evil queen, and they say the words that she's taking the jewels, and she brags about having all the jewels, but we don't actually get a sense. It's very elementary. It's very, like, share your toys with people.
She doesn't know the dwarves are there until she makes Jonathan
because I don't think they were in the original script. So that's why she doesn't know the dwarves are there. And so
their cottage was adorable as well.
It really, and that's the part where I like, because it's like there was also I want to finish.
Sorry,
no. I mean, this is literally what we're doing. The point of the live streams is for the untapped, uncut
live stream of consciousness,
unrated.
Yeah, James said the hi-ho mine sequence felt like a classic Disney movie, and I loved it. And they couldn't do it for the rest of the movie, and I totally agree. I could not agree more. And okay.
But so the dwarf stuff is working.
Yeah.
And then they literally halt it for her to go off and find these bandits, because Jonathan's not a prince, he's a bandit. He's Flynn Rider is what he is.
And he's wearing like a 90s California surfer shirt.
Grace commented on it too.
Shut up, really? Yeah. It's so weird.
He's like if anybody's out there is Simpsons people, it's like when Lisa falls in love with like the hippie vegan boy who's trying to protect them from cutting down the tree. That's who Jonathan is.
I will say his name is Andrew Burnap, and like in addition to the dwarves, I responded to him. I think in almost any other movie in existence, I would have loved him.
I do think he acted it too clever by half. But I don't think that that's his fault. I think it's
Brittany
Disney.
said so it's edging. Got it. You're not wrong.
But then your parents come home before you can...
It's like, this is going to definitely date us. It's like when you had one computer in your room and you had to dial up and your parents were out for the afternoon, but you had literally no way of knowing when they were going to come back because as we mentioned, you were tying up the phone line to download a photo of a hot boy or girl to look at it. And then you hear the garage door open when there's like 2% left of it to download. That's exactly what it's like.
And so, yeah, the movie just halts for... So Jonathan, he's not a prince, which I kind of hated.
Yes, so to go back to the woke thing, that's the wokest part of the movie, is that in the song that Snow White and Jonathan sing together, there is the line that you pointed out to me, where it's like, and if we should meet,
if
but
we
I'm
ever
asleep,
part...
or literally...
It's like, if we ever part...
Yeah, greet me with a kiss, basically. And so then I was like, you did all this work so that she's not getting saved by a prince, but she's still getting saved by a man who is kissing her without asking permission, as if that's not, like, an actual issue we're dealing with, too. And then you were like, no, don't worry, she gave consent beforehand. And I was like, so we're talking about consensual somnophilia is what we're doing? Like, why are we doing this in a children's movie?
Also, not for nothing, but the kiss is not in the Snow White source material.
Oh,
the
is it
kiss
not?
Is from Sleeping Beauty.
Well, how does Snow White wake up?
They drop the coffin.
Oh, in the apple.
And she chokes up the it
That's
dislodges
right.
the apple.
Right.
And so I'm like, if they're trying to, correct past mistakes, go back to the source material.
She doesn't have a coffin either. Tell you that for free.
The reason why that's so funny,
I was furious.
It's because Kristen leans over to me like 2/3 of the way through the movie, and she was like, over under on the coffin. Is it going to be like the best part of the movie, or is it going to be terrible? And it's terrible.
There's nothing.
Because it's not there. She's on a rock.
There's like a rock that's at the perfect angle for you to be reclined on, but still like lifted up enough that Jonathan can kiss her. And then it's not even it was like a bower. It's not even. There's like 2 sticks like going over her like this.
It's like when you're setting up a tent.
Yeah. 2 sticks like that have a little bit of flowers on the top. Fin.
I was sort of furious. And that's the other thing, that is one of several elephants in the room. And again, I know most of you guys know, but I'm going to go ahead and say it, is it's like, if at any point you're like, well, if you're so smart, what would you do? And I'm like, I am in news. You can read exactly what I would do.
Such good news for you.
And there's a glass coffin in this one, and it's beautiful because it's made out of broken stained glass.
James says, can't believe I'm saying this, but Once Upon a Time did Snow White better.
They really did.
I can't believe I agree with you.
They really did. And that's the thing, because it's like the piling on Gal Gadot, it's very like, stop, she's already dead energy. Because it's like she's taking on a role that Charlize Theron, Lana Parrilla, Julia Roberts, Sigourney Weaver. Like, are you kidding me?
When did Sigourney Weaver do it?
Snow White, Tale of Terror.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it's like, are you kidding me? And I mean, at this point, I think it's safe to say that Charlize Theron owns the role, if not Lana Parrilla, exception there. But
so I mean, those are different. Like, it's a different. It's like a whole different vibe, because Charlize Theron actually gets the like evil part of it, and Lana Parrilla, it's very campy and it's TV, so it's like a different animal.
I remember after we saw Snow White and the Huntsman, you were like, Charlize Theron is a beast. Like, she spins gold from straw in that performance, and then did it twice.
Yeah.
So we even get the camp version in Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah, it's really good. It's great.
But and so we then have to go spend time with the bandits, of which there are 7 dressed suspiciously like dwarves. And
they are it is very kind of slapdash.
And the movie thinks it's Ever After for like 20 minutes, in which you don't deserve to sit where she sat. No. You haven't earned what she's earned.
That scene in Ever After where she is like, I can take whatever I can carry, and she takes him, is like literally so incredible. And there's also, because I hate
and that's a good one with like, that has wonderful, feminist, progressive morals, and also is child friendly, but not a saccharine children's.
Yeah, and you know what else? DeGray Scott has a bulge in that movie.
Okay.
I haven't seen a bulge in a fucking fairy tale
Since Richard Madden.
Ugh!
No, you're right. I will.
How are these kids supposed to have a sexual awakening? This is why Gen Z thinks sex scenes in movies are superfluous.
I will give them credit. Jonathan is caked up.
He does have an ass.
For me, that counts because I noticed it,
Yeah.
that the front of his pants were really baggy, but I was like, that's because there was no more room in the inn.
Caked up on a Tuesday.
But no, and there's like a scene where he gets shot with an arrow or like a bolt. I keep saying that because I know it's a crossbow is a bolt.
Whatever.
And they take him back for like Doc, which wonderful. Okay, we'll find ways to use the dwarves. But we're just in this like uncanny half set, half CGI Kincaid painting.
Oh yeah.
With like
It was like a Kincaid painting.
7 dwarves and 7 bandits, all sort of standing next to their counterpart, and it feels uncanny.
It was very strange because at one point when they're waiting for Doc to come out, Snow White is standing next to this woman. She has a character name. Her name is Maple, and the actress's name is Dujona Gift. Good for you, girl. I'm glad you got your screen time. Not a word of dialogue spoken. If I was any of them, I'd be so pissed. But
Snow and
Snow
Maple
is,
have this like
her.
they like have this reaction like
yeah.
they mean something
to each other.
And we're like, "Oh no, not
Maple."
Like
it was insane. It was so great. And only the one of them, and I don't even know which one it was now, gets like another funny line, and he's like scurrying away when the bandits are like, "We have to go, the queen is coming," and I'm like, whatever.
They also didn't do like the
holding just a bunch of pretzels, and he's like, "Thanks for inviting us," and so weird.
They also didn't do like there was like nods to the original that I wanted that they didn't do, like the Wicked Queen. I mean, the Wicked Queen. And I like the one thing that I want, because they didn't show it in the trailers, and so I just assumed they were saving it, because there were so many things lifted from the movie, like the evil queen going down the spiral staircase and flinging the cape, which they did and was cool. But the one thing I was waiting for was for her clutching the skull cap as her white hair flies out of it.
No,
they didn't do it.
Just one little straggly gray piece.
And I mentioned this, but it's like, she's magic. We have no concept of the limitations of her magic. We don't know what she can do.
She can definitely
turn a flower,
summon a rose, and then turn it to ash. She can
does
definitely
it twice.
do that.
She does it twice. But the movie kind of because I'm with you where it's like, I would have thought it was maybe a party trick or like a deception she was doing. But the movie's like, no. Even real magic is no match for Snow White's heart. And the dwarves are magic, but they don't explain it.
Yeah.
They don't, like...
Oh, yeah, their hands glow, and then they put them to... And it was then, in that case, kind of like the dwarves in Rings of Power, where it, like, makes the whole mountain glow.
But it's like, so are they producing the gems, or are they...
Are they like those creatures from Valerian?
Kind of. It's like, or are they the only ones
pooping out gems down
Are they
there?
the only ones who are capable of, like, I wish that what the evil queen wanted was all of the gems, and that she knew about the dwarves, and that she sent the huntsmen out to find them and bring them so she could like make them make her jewelry. Sure. Like, I wish there was an actual goal plot, like I wish the cogs actually and
also what you said is like, it's no match for Snow White's heart, and I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. And I'm actually sick to death of people being like, just my goodwill alone will defeat the evil queen. And I'm like, it just won't, though. To say something that we say on a daily basis, you are playing by rules that the evil queen has rendered moot. These rules no longer exist. You have to kill her. Stab her with that crystal dagger that she summoned out of nowhere.
Which they don't. They have the opportunity to, and they don't.
She
and then
just is like, leave forever. And I was like, sure, I'll bet she'll stick with that.
And then she runs to the mirror, and it swallows her or something.
Yeah, but then there's like a weird, like, upside down dimension behind the mirror. What the fuck? I'm like madder the longer we talk about it.
Well, and Snow White spends the entire movie talking about how her father's daughter, and she's going to be the leader she was always meant to be, and her father's daughter. But we don't get any sense of what leadership means other than singing at peasants and then bringing them pies.
Apple pie.
Because it's like, we know
that you stick your finger in first. The king stuck his finger in that pie at the beginning, and I was like, gross. Why did you do that in front of them? If you need to taste the pie, you need to taste it in the fucking kitchen.
But we know that it's bad. Like, we know times are tough when the evil queen shows up because the skies get dreary, and we see them be sad.
And the peasants are in sad colored clothes.
But they're just sort of sitting around outside sad. And so that's where I'm like, what?
I'm just like, can we get some peasant torture in this movie?
I mean, it's not that I want that, but also I have to say something hilarious.
This live is just going to only be Snow White at this rate.
That's what we advertised it as. What else do we have to talk about?
Nothing.
So I do have to say something hilarious, because for the life of me, I can't imagine who signed off on her hair. It is canon. It's like awful in canon. The queen does it to her. She like cuts her hair off.
Cuts the braid off. But I'm like, at no point in the intervening potentially 10 years did you grow it out and do something a little different with it? No.
Because it's baffling.
Is she consistently chopping it in this horrible bob?
It's baffling to me, though, because it is so spectacularly unflattering to Rachel specifically.
Yeah. Because it cuts in right where she had all her cheek fat removed.
I didn't say that. I don't know. But it doesn't, it's flat, and it doesn't, because Rachel posted a beautiful post on Instagram that was not at all backhanded. She's actually kind of been slaying me with, like, I think because she's advertising the movie, as is probably in her contract, but they're all backhanded. And
which I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. That is, like, turning me around. Also, Serenity said maybe she cut it with magic shears. Maybe. That's not stated.
And time does pass.
Time passes. Years pass. It's because it's two different actresses.
Yeah.
It's a little girl actress and then Rachel Zegler.
But even the comparisons to, like, Cinderella, because in Cinderella, it's a similar thing where she had a mother and father who taught her to have courage and be kind, and then her mother died, and then the new evil, beautiful, like, it's almost verbatim. But the difference is Haley Atwell. Well...
No, the difference is Haley Atwell, because that's the other thing, too, is neither the king nor the queen are stunt casts.
And the queen it's one of the actresses who played Ariel's sister in The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
So in that regard, yay, good, I'm happy for you. But she doesn't speak. She doesn't do... Literally, when she dies, she just fades away. Because they're looking in the wishing well.
Which is...
And I
the wishing well is a thing, but...
I liked that part. And... because they cut Someday My Prince Will Come, because you can't just be waiting for a prince to come save you.
So she's waiting on a wish.
They replace it with waiting on a wish. And I'm like, that's still inaction. That's still like...
It's not more empowering than waiting for a man.
I mean, I guess it's about her waiting to become the person she's always meant to be, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I follow it. I know what they think it means, but... I mean, if I was imprisoned and going, I can't wait to be who I'm supposed to be. Like, what does that mean? That's just...
Okay. No, I agree. Waiting on what I'm supposed to be. I'm like, did you ever think that maybe you are already that? Or, like, why are you waiting? Why don't you just do something? Serenity says, don't know if you talked about the musical numbers. We did. But would like to know if we liked any. I did not. Despite her bad singing, I heard the Queen's solo was good. It's not.
Okay.
And it is like it's like a Sondheim mixed with, which one did I say? Masquerade from Phantom of the Opera. It's not, I didn't care for any of it.
I loved the Queen's number, but like I said, I was howling. Like, I was laughing so because it's so big. It's like so like she's on the stairs.
That was the masquerade part.
As all of the like dozens of attendants are like,
yeah, that was funny. That was funny. James said it also bugged me that her hair part was really uneven. Rachel, I assume. Yes, and then Brown Bunny again said someone said it looked like she combed her hair with a chicken bone. There was actually a moment, so it was after the dark forest part.
When it was wet. I liked that part.
Yeah, but it was very like artfully combed over to this, and no, it's just.
Oh, I liked that.
It looked better.
Because I liked the haunted forest, and I loved the creatures. I loved that because you commented that the deer's eyes were too big, and better that than the Lion King.
Well,
better
absolutely.
That than...
I just think they could have been like 1/3 smaller.
There's also fairies in the movie. Maybe
I forgot about the fairies.
Fairies.
And now I'm angry again.
Do I know about the fairies?
Because at one point, Dopey is looking at one and you think it's just a firefly, but then it's like on his finger and it like stands up on legs. And then later Jonathan and Dopey are doing the same thing. Jonathan passes one to Dopey and it does the same thing, and I was like, that's a little fucking fairy. And it just but nothing. That's it.
It's almost
just those two
But
shots.
It's almost like they were afraid they weren't going to get enough comparisons to Snow White and the Huntsman. Because remember, there's the fairies and Snow White and the Huntsman, but I think they work better in that.
Yeah.
Because they're like little sprites, and we at least get to see their faces. Because these, we don't ever see a close. Like it's
no close up.
It's like it thinks it's Willow or something. Like it thinks it's done something really. Like a generation's gonna cling to this.
Here's a note, Disney: don't cancel your Willow TV show if you want something to be like Willow. Keep making Willow. I might be out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I.
Did you make notes? Did you write something?
I wrote down things that it's been an hour.
It has been a whole hour that we've been railing.
Let's just give this to Will.
On this movie. Oh, God.
No, I made all the points that I wanted to. I don't know. Like I said, if you're asking what I think, and I again, back, like I said, to the Hawk Fairytale, but it, like, I had that whole Seven Dwarfs conundrum back when I was working, like, in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And that also, like, trivializing little people with dwarfism felt kind of icky to me.
Yeah.
And so I made the Seven Dwarves creatures.
They're like properly creatures. They are not like humanoid.
Well, they are humanoid.
Well, but they're not. Yeah.
They're like hobgoblins. Like, I think they're like made out of bark, and they have penchants for shiny, pretty things. And Snow White is a shiny, pretty thing. Mm-hmm. So they attach to her, mm-hmm. and they're like pets almost. Mm-hmm. And they're also in one scene.
I mean, it's a flashback.
No.
Oh, are they? Is it? Yeah, okay. It's been a minute since I read it.
Yeah, it's. I like it. I'm proud of it. I feel like, without saying, I pull a stunt that I feel like people aren't going to. I'm just going to say it at this point. Who cares? I think that a lot, because Fairytale, it's like a mashup. It's like all of the fairy tales interwoven together. I feel like people are going to assume that the Snow White story has already happened. I think because she's married to the prince, they assume the glass coffin's already happened. And so, again, huge spoiler, but Snow White goes missing early on in the book, and then the prince finds her at the end of the book in a glass coffin. Mm-hmm. So
what?
So there's things like that sprinkled all throughout it, but yeah. As far as Disney's concerned, right now I want them to go sit in the corner. Yeah. I want them to take 10 years off. Yeah. And I would go, if the economy, there's a code word, if the economy can stabilize.
No.
I'm all in on Universal. I can't wait. I want to go to Epic Universe. And I love, because like one of Universal's big criticisms is that, or one of the talking points comparing Disney to Universal, is that Disney owns princess stories, that Universal doesn't have like a fairy tale or a princess story. And again, they have like How to Train Your Dragon, but that's so boy coded. And with,
I mean, if you're weak,
sure, but with Wicked, that, as far as I'm concerned, counts as a princess story.
Yeah.
And they filed the paperwork to bring Emerald City to Epic Universe. So I would give it 2 years, but
Sean, I don't think either one of us have read the Lunar Chronicles. That's that like Cinder and
I'm
stuff.
aware of it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah. And James said just bring Kenneth Branagh back and give him all the money he wants. I think he is totally satisfied making very mediocre Poirot movies.
Okay, mediocre to good.
Yeah.
They're beyond just mediocre.
Well, sure.
And that's the thing, because it's
they
like...
are satisfying to watch.
I think that Kenneth Branagh, I think that a lot of people sort of discredit him or write him off, because the Poirot movies are so clearly passion projects. Like, he's doing them for himself. He's not doing them from a demand for them.
No, but also I feel like, I'm sorry, you are not allowed to write off Kenneth Branagh. He is one of the best adapters of Shakespeare.
Artemis Fowl was
today.
a huge... Artemis Fowl was a huge...
Did Bobby Z do an Artemis
Yeah.
Fowl?
And so I think that he really got...
but he has...
He got dinged there.
I think he has enough backlog goodwill.
And again, I know that there was like the writer strike, and I know that there was cultural shifts and stuff, but I want to know specifically. I want to know from an accountant, what about Snow White needs $300 million? Like,
was it 300?
I think so. By the time all the reshoots and all that stuff, like
Kenneth Branagh's doing a voice in that King of Kings movie.
Oh, it's whatever.
He's doing Charles Dickens.
Okay.
Oh, is that who the dad is? Is the dad Dickens?
I think so.
Was Dickens very against King Arthur stories?
I don't know. I'm not worried about that. I'm pretending that movie doesn't exist.
No. Now we're going to get into the trailers that we saw before Snow White, because I am sick to death of the state of children's entertainment. Like, it makes me want to cry.
It's only going to get worse.
Oh, Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac, Uma Thurman, Mark Hamill, Ben Kingsley, Forrest Whitaker. He just is Charles Dickens. Ew.
But no, I mean, Cinderella was like, I feel like it was like a $95 million budget.
All right, let's find out. Cinderella. This is the content you guys want, right? Cinderella, $95 million. Look at you. You're on the money today.
And that movie was beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
And there's CG. One might even argue too much CG, even though I love it.
Yeah. Snow White, this says $250 million, which is still too much. But it says estimated. So, like you said, with reshoots and stuff, it could definitely...
But there's not even paychecks in this movie.
I mean, Gal Gadot commands something, but she's not even a $20 million actress.
Precisely.
So, and if she did make $20 million and have a bone to pick for that,
if she made $20 million from this, then she needs to disappear. She just needs to go to
it.
that island and
that needs to be it. Yikes.
I feel like I was going to say something. Well, we were talking about... No, I agree. I agree that they should have someone overseeing it. I feel like they should... Whoever writer or director brings them a script should have to prove a loyalty to the source material test. Because they are... I'm sick to death because I feel like I say the same thing every single time. And I'm tired of my own voice. But it's like... They're just making...
You said content earlier.
Yeah, like
content.
Nepo, but not related. They're making like corporate nepotism.
Yeah.
Business decisions.
Well,
and they're lazy. It's so lazy, and they deserve this. And like I said, and I'm mad that it's going to fall on the talents' heads.
Yeah.
Because even I did want to get to this. The costumes and the sets and stuff like that. There's been a lot of talk about them being ugly and her Snow White dress being ugly. And I will say, in a vacuum, it's not what I wanted or would... Like, the first time I saw the picture of her in the Snow White dress, I recoiled. I thought it was horrible.
The yellow's too bright.
Having said that, for me, in the movie, I like it.
It's fine.
I think it looks good in the movie. And I think the sets, for me, this was on par with like Aladdin. And I think this, where Aladdin is a better movie, significantly.
I think the costumes in Aladdin are a lot better too.
Do you? I was gonna say they were better in this.
No.
Okay.
Jasmine gets multiple outfits.
No, she does, but I think each one looks chintzier than the previous.
Whatever. Rachel Zegler wears 3 dresses, and one of them is just an all-white version of the regular one.
Mm-hmm. Jasmine has costume changes, yeah. That was my issue, and this I blame on Guy Ritchie, is it's like, because what business does he have doing?
It's just because there's street chases in
Yeah.
Aladdin.
And there's also like Bollywood musical numbers, but what part about
Imagine a Bollywood director making Aladdin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where they didn't have to slow down and lower the tempo of the songs for Will Smith. And actually, again, Will Smith, I think he was pretty good in that movie.
Yeah.
I think he was one of the better parts. But still, they had to slow down and lower Prince Ali for him to rap to.
God, I forgot. I only saw it once. Serenity says, I love how Chris just went, no. I've been doing that a lot lately.
I rebuke it.
Like, dark-sided. What did I just say? I just feel like I said that about something the other day.
I don't know. But no, these things, I can tell, are big and expensive, but they look small and cheap.
Yeah.
And
that was the big problem that we had. The biggest problem that we had with Aladdin is that it's like, it looked like it was filmed on the back lot.
And that's where I think Snow White looks better than Aladdin did.
I think parts of it do. I had a really hard time with the opening when she was a child, because for the rest of the movie, the entire rest of the movie, besides that opening scene, the light looked artificial. And that scene looked like they shot it outside with sun. And I was like, you can't have both.
The lighting is very inconsistent.
Yeah.
Shocker, I liked the artificial.
It should have been artificial the whole time.
I liked there's this weird
or
golden
it should have been artificial in
the
that
beginning.
scene and real sunlight the rest of the time.
No, there's like a golden hour that rears its head, but it does come and go. Like it's the timeline is all kinds of skewed.
Yeah.
And again, like the dwarf stuff is so clearly on a soundstage, and the bandit stuff is so clearly in real forest.
Yeah, that too.
I kind of loved the Queen's costumes. Again, not how I would have done it, not what I wanted, but I do love that they are such. If you were going to do a literal 1-for-1 interpretation of the animated movie, they did that.
They disagree. Did it. It should have been black velvet.
I mean, there was black.
No, it should have been flat black velvet. But there's all these geometric shapes and stuff. And also, it's whatever, and I'm fine with the rest of them. There's no excuse for that big green thing. No excuse. No excuse. Because it's on the doll, too.
It is.
No excuse.
I have the dolls. Should I bring them out?
Sure.
You can't really see. I asked Will today. I was like, it's too late for today's stream, but I was like, can we incorporate a second camera for like detail? Because again, I got the dolls. It was a compulsion of mine. Everyone in my life has questioned. They're like, really? You wanted to do that? But I think they're pretty. I got the big queen.
The sequins are not. It's not it for me. Be careful with your water.
Yeah. I like the sleeves.
You can kind of see her. Yeah, you can kind of see her. It's fine. It could be better.
And like I said, I don't, because I kind of want to open them because I have a pretty strong belief that toys are meant to be played with. Like, part of me wanting these things is it's whatever is wrong with me or my synesthesia or whatever part of the spectrum I'm on, that something's not real until I can touch it. And so it's like when I get obsessed with like movies or things that are intangible, I'm like, well, I want a touchable version of it in order for me to move on. But also I'm like, this movie is going to be such a disaster that I can't tell if they're going to be extremely valuable collector's keepsakes.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't keep making them,
there's going to be so little.
Yeah.
There's no demand. And so I'm like, there's either going to be a surplus because nobody wants them, or they're going to be extremely valuable because the whole thing's a mess and they didn't even make Playline dolls. This is it. Those two are it. Like, and you know, even something like the Little Mermaid is good. As far as I'm concerned, I have things that I complain about. It's not as good as it should have been or could have been, but it's a good movie. It at least has narrative cohesion.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
Whether or not you agree with Melissa McCarthy's casting, no one can leave that movie saying that she didn't do it. Like,
no, she delivered. I still think, I mean, I understand why they didn't. I still wish I had been a drag queen. But,
sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And then to finish one of the points I was making earlier when they brought up Hercules. Hercules is apparently still in production. We'll see. But like I said, for me, that's more where the live action should be, is sort of the B-sides and the underdogs and the cult classics and stuff. It's like...
Yeah, but like at this point, I'm like, I don't want you to do it because what are you going to cut out? I Can Go the Distance? What's the point?
Well, again, the last... Because for a while I heard they were doing a big epic musical, which if they do it good, I want.
Or like you're going to cut the muses. Like that's... And I'm like...
We Ride at Dawn. No, We Ride at Dawn. If they cut... How dare they?
Yeah.
I'm furious at the insinuation.
Yeah.
But I think the live action movie should exist to reinvigorate an IP, which that should have been this.
I think they should just be doing big re-releases of the animated movies. They should put, because you're not having to pay a bunch of people $320 million to make this fucking movie. You're just paying for marketing. Just market the movies you already have and make people go see them. Because, James, I disagree. I'm not excited for the Lilo and Stitch movie at all. I think everything about it looks worse than the animated movie.
I've noticed. I think it's because we were slightly older.
I saw Lilo and Stitch 2 times in the movie theater.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater, but I don't have the nostalgia for it.
I do.
Because all the people that I know who have nostalgia for it are blown away by the trailer. And I thought it looked...
I have like enough nostalgia for it that we saw that King of Kings trailer, which is disgusting. And then we saw the How to Train Your Dragon live action, which is an abomination. And then we saw the Lilo and Stitch live action, which is the least of the three, the least offensive of the three, to be sure. But like, absolutely not. I don't want it. The original movie is good, and I don't understand.
I guess my biggest thing with the live action remakes is I want to live in a world where we have beautiful big budget fairy tale fantasy movies happening. Sure. And so I feel like I'm a beggar, so I have to take what I can get.
You absolutely don't.
And that, like, I talk a lot to Zach about it, but I sometimes lie awake at night dreaming about the Sofia Coppola Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
With Elle Fanning from 2011, where she would have been the age of the Little Mermaid. And I just think it would have been beautiful. It would have been dark. It would have been heartbreaking. I want it so bad. Yeah. I want it so bad.
Because wasn't Del Toro on board for something at one point too?
Well, he was Pinocchio. Or no, he did Pinocchio. I don't remember. Was he in Beauty and the Beast? I think he was one of the ones.
He was on board for something at some point.
Now, that.
Get you a monster fucker to direct Beauty and the Beast.
Also, they were both. I love them both. They were both miscast in that movie. Dan Stevens and Emma Watson.
I really like Evermore.
I do.
I really like the song Evermore.
What is that? The best part of a bad thing.
Yeah.
Is that from something?
No, just people just say the best part of a bad whatever, yeah.
And again, Beauty and the Beast is good compared to this.
I'm begging for Beauty and the Beast
watchable
level at this point.
My thing with Beauty and the Beast was, but the biggest thing for me was how hideous all of the costumes were. And I'm not just talking about her, yellow dress.
No.
All of the costumes in that movie were
The yellow
hideous.
dress was awful. I didn't have a problem with the rest of them like you did, and I love her dress at the end with like the peach roses all over it.
That's
it's
actually
beautiful.
it's the exception that proves the rule. But no.
Oh yeah, you said Greta Gerwig had a turn at the script for Snow White.
Yep.
Where? There's not a single good line in the movie.
I think that's probably the. So I think she's probably where. Well, if she only had a turn at it, then I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna attribute the bandits to her.
But
that would have been like a reinvention.
Yeah, but no bandits have any dialogue except for Jonathan and the pretzel guy.
I think Maple said one thing.
I don't know. I think Dopey had more lines than every single bandit.
And his voice when he does talk, it's like, at least for me, it was like shockingly deeper than I thought it was going to be. It was like Kingsley Benadir from Barbie when he's like, I can't remember what he said. It's one of my favorite parts, but it's like, he turns and he's like, we've been fighting the wrong enemy all along.
Yeah. But also that's like shocking in a funny way, and this was shocking in like an uncomfortable way.
Are there any other things that either of us or you guys have questions about or want to talk about, or do you enjoy listening to us bitch and moan in a frenzied, uncoordinated state?
That is kind of our resting. That is just kind of what we do.
But I try not to. I rebuke that, as I want to be.
When when it's just the two of us hanging out, not like when we're on camera.
I don't like disliking things. I want to like these things.
And this
do I need to bring the dolls back out?
This sucks too because it is the second very big budget Disney specifically thing that we have seen where in a month that we've been like, this is bad. Like, this is really bad. Like, Captain America was really bad.
But it's for the same reasons, though.
Yeah, 100%
it's
for
like
the same
corporate
reasons.
schlock.
Yeah. I don't want. I'm like way more into. I'm back around to like being more into TV again than I am into movies. Like, I'm not excited for any movies this year. I'm excited for like 11 TV shows. Also, somebody mentioned Adolescence earlier. I have heard that it's very good as well. My husband and I are planning to watch it. So, Sean's interested in seeing Greta Gerwig's Narnia.
What is it?
Yeah,
What on earth is it?
I was excited, and now I'm very concerned that she is starting chronologically.
She's starting with The Magician's Nephew.
I hate it. I don't think that's... First of all, I think that's also not the way that you should read the books. If you have the set of books and the first one is The Magician's Nephew, that is incorrect because it shouldn't be chronological. The way that they parse out the information, the order in which he published them is the way that you should read them, in my opinion. I think it's the only way.
Well, because the other thing that and it's one of those things that in my opinion, it could go either way. And I do think it's 40-60.
She has enough goodwill for me that I'm willing to get there and watch it, but like also The Magician's Nephew is boring. So if she is gonna, is she hoping to make all 7? Because starting with the most boring one feels like a bad move.
Well, and we also already not...
I guess The Horse and His... Or the Horse and His Boy and the Children... All of the ones that they haven't made into movies yet are boring.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like we already did that once with this very property, where it's like, well, we have to get through this one just so we can get to the good one. And it like didn't... I mean, it kind of worked.
The Voyage of the Dawn Treader is my favorite one, and if they had done it correctly, it would have been amazing. But the movie is bad.
But, so...
Except for Reba Cheap.
I'm also like...
What? Oh, is my Reba Cheap there? Yeah.
I'm annoyed that they've been...
I'm sorry, Serenity. What? Oh, The Magician's Nephew is your favorite. I'm so sorry.
I'm annoyed that they've been talking about Greta Gerwig's Narnia since 2018, and we're somehow, I feel, further away from it than I've ever been.
Wait, that can't be right. She didn't get it until after Barbie.
I don't think so.
Did she get it after Little Women? I thought it wasn't until after Barbie.
No, I knew about it before Barbie.
Interesting.
But the other thing, that I like can't wrap my mind around. And I feel like there's a reality where it could work, but I'm like 40-60, where I think 40% likelihood that it'll work, 60% I don't think it's going to work. But I heard a rumor that there's going to be a musical component to it. Like, I think they're replacing the allusions to Christianity with music somehow.
No.
And that's why there's this like thing going around about Charlie XCX being the White Witch.
I hate that. If that's why, then absolutely not.
And I'm like, have we seen her act ever? Like, I don't think movies. Videos, yeah, like I think she's been on SNL, and I mean, I would love for it to work, but that feels like a joke to me.
Yeah. Okay. In 2018, Netflix announced it would develop the Chronicles of Narnia, but she wasn't brought in until 2020. So it was still before Barbie, but it was not. It was 2018 when they said they were doing it, but not when they got her.
I stand by what I said. Yeah. I feel further away from it now than I did when they announced it.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm like, and every time I read or hear a headline about it, I'm like, well, they've already started filming, or we've got one in the can, they're just trying to get 3 of them or something, and it's like, no, they haven't even started.
No, yeah, I was like, we would have known about casting by
like,
now.
How she went off of Barbie Summer in 2023 being that huge, and then she's done nothing for 2 years, and then
she wasn't allowed to be writing during the strike, so that's part of it.
And honestly, yeah. People are going to get tired of that talking point really soon, if not already.
The strike
and the pandemic and all that. But I do think it's true. Being tired of something doesn't mean it's not true. That the industry was thrown into chaos several ways over. And again, now is a rancid time. Socially, politically, culturally, spiritually. I kind of don't blame them. I mean, who? Because another thing that they're saying, and I mean, I hate this. I hate it. But they're saying one of the reasons why nothing's happening is because nobody will do anything, because everybody's afraid that if they slip up or say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing,
they're done,
it's going to get broadcast and canceled. And it's like, we can't live this way. Like, we're going to have to figure out some way. We're all in this together. I don't know. And that's kind of how I wound up here and doing what I'm trying to do and trying to get better at it, is because it's like I tried. It's like I went to Louisiana and worked on 3 movies. I had an opportunity to go to LA, but I didn't like how it worked.
Yeah.
And I would just much rather, I don't know.
Yeah, it's awful. It's all awful. James, I agree that Saoirse Ronan would be a great White Queen. However, I think she would be a little too close to the Tilda Swinton White Queen. So
but it would be.
I appreciate the divergence that they're possibly doing with Charlie.
If Charlie can act,
yeah,
and this musical element makes sense, stranger things have happened.
I don't think we do know any of the main cast.
No, they're still casting, but I'm like, because Charlie looks more like how she's depicted in the book.
Okay.
Well, dark hair and more severe. And everyone was joking, instead of Turkish Delight, it's going to be like an 8-ball.
Yeah.
just
Narnia pre-production. It says it's coming out next year. And this says Charlie XCX. I don't know how legit that is, but that's the only cast on IMDb.
I would love for it to be the case. Maybe it will be. Who knows? I've never been burned before.
Oh, it's a movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a show.
Series? No, it's a movie.
Okay. On January 16, 2025, Netflix officially announced that Greta Gerwig's first Narnia film will debut exclusively in IMAX theaters for a 4-week run beginning Thanksgiving Day 2026.
That's close.
Filming is set to begin in July of this year, so it's going to look bad and unfinished.
Maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work. Like I said, also, you know, do a good job, Greta. And like I've said several times, Christopher Nolan, prove me wrong.
He's not going to.
Prove me wrong. Make a good Odyssey movie.
Greta is more likely to prove us wrong than Christopher Nolan. That Odyssey movie is going to be bad.
Well,
and
because
boring.
I'm still going to be excited about it because I very rarely get opportunities to geek out over Greek mythology and stuff like that.
They're going to ask again if you watched Chaos. No, we did not.
No.
Brown Bunny says Odyssey looks like a hot mess. Yeah. And did you see what they did to my boy?
John Bernthal.
They shaved his beautiful hair. To the skin. I hate it. He looks like one of those toys where you have to move the iron filings.
It's like a Doberman. Let him keep his wings.
Let him keep his
ears
into a... You just, like, move the iron filings into, like, a hairdo, but it's all a beard. I hate it. Oh, they're eating that Odyssey movie up on Twitter. Yeah, I don't know. Is your name pronounced Angus? Is that how... It's like an A-E-N-G-U-S. I just want to be respectful. Let me know. Can't wait to see how the women characters have 30 seconds of screen time. Yeah, it's not gonna be good. Also, I need to know who people are.
Because last I heard that Lupita was going to be Athena.
Yeah.
Which I was thrilled by. And then I heard Zendaya was going to be Athena.
Too young.
And I think she's too young.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Zendaya. I think the Zendaya backlash is bullshit. I think that she is properly rated. Maybe overexposed, but not overrated.
Buckle up for that. And I've got some fresh Zendaya backlash. If you want to talk about that. She and Tom Holland are just, like, retiring.
Oh, well, good, because people are complaining of her and everything.
Well, she's going to be in 6 movies next year.
Yeah.
And
I think she sees the writing on the wall, and she's going to, like...
People think that they are cramming in everything they can now because they have both said in separate and together interviews that once they start a family, you're never going to see them again. And I sort of hate that.
We'll see. People retire all the time and still come out for reasons, like for things.
I just think they're both
so young and so amazing.
Really good.
And also, I can't get over how, and again, I know that this is the Odyssey and not the Iliad, but hey, that's the beauty of
how you're totally right. How are the two of them not
fiction.
Helen and Paris?
How are you going to have Zendaya and Tom Holland in your Greek mythology Trojan War movie and they're not Helen and Paris?
Yeah, agreed.
In what reality is that not?
Yeah.
And I had just I had just sort of settled on, I just thought Charlize Theron was going to be Athena. Mm-hmm. And other than my initial bristling at a blonde Athena, I was sort of like, I'm on board.
She's done brown hair before.
No, I don't want that.
Well, I'm just saying. She's done it. Let's see. I am prepared to be let down. I'm sure I will be. However, I am still going to be interested and excited in things for it as it comes. So the Odyssey is going on our list of movies that we're covering. We'll go see it and stuff.
We'll do a first look. We'll do a trailer reaction.
Maybe it'll be like this, where it'll be so atrocious and 3.5 hours long that we will just talk about it on whenever the next live is. Also, Angus, I would stop holding your breath for full Greek fantasy with the movie. That's absolutely not going to happen. No,
Hi, Angus. Who are you?
But we feel you.
I just want gods and monsters. That shouldn't be so much to ask.
I agree. I completely agree. Also, Sean still hasn't started Daredevil. Is it good?
Are you guys liking it?
We're liking it enough. It took, I mean, how much kind of spoilers do you want? I won't talk about the plot. No. I can just talk about, like, characters. Karen Page has been in 1 episode. Frank Castle's been in 1 episode. They were not the same episode. And Matt still has not put on the Daredevil outfit. And we're creeping up on episode 5 here pretty quick. And I'm pretty sure it's not 18 episodes. It's 2 seasons of 9, which blows. Because they're
all filmed, though.
No, they are currently filming right now because there are new set photos and Deborah Ann Wall is wearing like a disguise wig. Oh. I'm annoyed. I don't understand. Because I think they filmed for like 11 months. Even after they retooled.
Yeah,
no, even after they retooled. They filmed for months and months and months. So, I don't know. I am not hating the story so far, but also we've sort of barely scratched the surface of the story because the first 3 episodes were essentially wrapping up what they kept from the original set of filming, because the guy who's playing that character died in real life. And I feel like they were like, we have to kind of honor that and keep him. So they wrapped that all up, and now I think we're getting to the real story. So we'll see.
Oh, I am excited for Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh, is that happening?
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay. And we got pictures of Adelaide Kane as Katana, who's my favorite, and she has the fans.
Cora, right?
Yeah.
Cora Hale?
No. That's Adelaide.
That's Adelaide Kane.
Yeah, Adeline Rudolph.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
She's from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and Riverdale.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
She's Katana,
okay,
who has always been my favorite, and she has her fans, her blade fans.
Cool.
And they are actually going to do the tournament in this movie. Because remember, they didn't really do it in the first movie.
Sure.
And I guess they're sort of treating the first movie like a pilot.
Oh, okay.
Where they're keeping what worked. And although we're getting, I forgot his name. Johnny Storm, right? No, Johnny Storm is...
Is it Lyndon Ashby?
No.
Oh.
Will!
He can't hear you. He's listening to something
I can't think of his name.
loud, I'm sure.
The blonde guy from...
Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage!
That's Lyndon Ashby, no?
In the old movie.
Oh, okay.
It's Carl Urban in this movie.
Okay.
He's typically meant to be younger, but I don't know. Carl's fun.
He's great. You said Brown when he said Johnny Cage, and Serenity said Carl Urban. Also, James said that he's excited for Mike Flanagan's Life of Chuck. And then said Kristen cough, Tom Hiddleston cough.
I haven't watched. Is there a trailer?
There's something.
I haven't watched it specifically so that we could watch. Is there a trailer? Let me see.
I don't know if there's like a full trailer. This says it's the 2024. Yeah, minute 13.
Do you want to watch?
Yeah, okay. We'll watch the Life of Chuck trailer. Do you guys want to watch that? I don't know anything about it except for that it's like one of the nice Stephen King things. Yeah.
Are we going to get just fantasy from Mike Flanagan?
Maybe.
Is it fantasy? I know Stephen King isn't always fantasy.
I don't. I mean, almost all of his nice stuff is fantasy-ish.
That would be I've been curious to see fantasy from Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
Get Mike Flanagan a fucking Fairytale movie.
We probably are not going to review Big Mouth's last season. Did it already happen?
We never did watch.
We didn't finish it.
That one. Maybe I'll look at it myself and see if it's worth picking back up. But I think we enjoyed that show. But I think we kind of got our.
I got my fill. Bubble bath.
We got the gist.
Yeah.
What was the one that Zach likes? Zach's not here, is he?
No, I haven't seen it yet. A bubble. So it's something bubble gum or something.
No. Something about took all the fizz out of my soda pop.
I was right about bubbles. And then Brown Bunny said, "Let's watch," and did a chair emoji, which I think is very funny. Is your sound on? Check your.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Life of Chuck. Teaser. Okay.
This one. There we go. I was like, something's still not right.
Oh, same with Stranger Things. Got your fill in season 1. I don't understand Serenity. You should watch the whole thing. It's very.
Have you not watched?
That's what.
Or you weren't interested?
I think you should watch the rest.
I like Stranger Things.
All right, let's go.
Ooh, neon.
That is promising. Have you seen The Green Mile?
No. I have been in so many rooms where it was playing, though.
It's good. You'll hate the one prison guard, but... Oh, okay, Mike Flanagan, your heart and soul.
Aw. Oh, is he young?
Yeah. Matthew Lillard, Karen Gillan, David Dastmalchian. Oh my god, so many people. Mia Sarah.
Oh, so just nothing. Okay.
It's a teaser. Well, whatever. I'm down.
I mean, I'm excited for
Yeah.
it, but that... So there's a man, and then there's a younger version of that man. Can't wait.
Okay, I know that Stranger Things has been on since Obama was still president, but let's be real. I
don't
think,
pick. You're barking up the wrong tree with the Stranger Things hate with this one.
I think that what arrives on the screen has warranted the actual breaks they've taken in between. This one is crazy because of the strikes specifically. We would have had it a year ago, all right, and that would have been 2 years, which they've all kind of been 2 years, but it's been 3 years this time because of the strikes specifically. I just like it. I just think it's great. Well, my husband and I have been hooked since episode 1. It was like, Will was so in, like all in from episode 1.
I actually...
No, I know,
Yeah,
but I mean, like, you know, it's not, you're not like waiting for it, and I'm like waiting for it. I'm mostly waiting for it because I want these poor actors to be able to do something else because it has been 9 years.
To be free from this Faustian bargain.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go watch Electric State.
We are, yes, we are most likely doing that as soon as we. So that is
either that or finish up the
even
SNL.
more money. That one is the $320 million, which is crazy. Okay, I only watched season 1 when it aired. There was no confirmation of a season 2 at the time. The way they ended it was satisfying for me. Okay,
That is valid, actually.
That is super valid. I will say, since because I feel like I've known the entire time that it was going to be 5 seasons. We
had that talking point, I think.
They presented it to Netflix with a 5-season Bible. And so they basically, and then it was like such a huge hit for Netflix, like right out of the gate, that I was like, well, they've just kind of got to. So I understand your point, and that is fair. The first season, it's like the first season of not Sharp Objects, Big Little Lies. That's like for me a perfect season of television, 100%. And Sean, I'm feeling less good by the hour about the new Buffy. I don't like at all that it is progressing faster than Sarah Michelle Gellar expected. That fills me with dread. I'm not excited.
I don't remember what, I would tell you to look it up, but I don't remember what it was, but I told you on camera.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I was like, well, good news. The Buffy reboot is progressing faster than anticipated. But it's like, you know how they have to put little qualifiers? Yeah. And it's like, the little qualifier is, I can't think of the word. I'm doing terrible. Foreboding. Like,
yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, and I don't care about the fact that Buffy is a recurring character. I don't want her to be a main character. I don't want this show to be Buffy. I don't want a Buffy the Vampire series. I want a show about a Slayer. And Buffy arrives sometimes. I don't want a Buffy remake. That's like the opposite of what. So I would like her to be in 2 episodes a season, and I would be fine with that. Premiere and finale every season, and that would be enough for me. I wish I was excited. I'm not. I don't have faith.
Well, let me put it this way.
Mentioned, like, we are just creating content. We're not doing anything.
Let me put it this way. You're not excited because you've been burned
so many times.
Too much, and this means too much for you.
Yeah.
So if it does happen, and if it is good, and you do like it, you'll be the first to say.
Sure, absolutely. I absolutely will. I'm going to watch it. Unless they pull some absolute crazy shenanigans, I will be watching it. But I am not excited.
So we're just not gonna have Dawn.
No, and R.I.P. Michelle Trachtenberg is dead. So, and if they recast, that would make me not watch it.
But it's like, if one of the reasons why I would want to revisit it is to get more Dawn, because I feel like
I wanted, because everybody was like, Buffy should be leading the Watchers Council. And I was like, no, the fuck she shouldn't. Dawn should be leading the Watchers Council. Like, the new and improved Watchers Council. And, yeah, no.
Because it's like, Dawn was a tricky and challenging character for understandable reasons. But it's like, I feel like I want to see her established and, like, thriving.
Yeah.
And not, am I real? You know?
No, 100%. Also, I am very sorry, Angus. I don't know if you're the one who commented asking on one of our most recent videos. We will not be returning to the Wheel of Time. People ask us periodically. I guess I can't say never.
There's a reality where it could, but it is not.
It is not currently right now. I will say there is a better chance of me catching up on it because I just put it on while I'm working during the day.
I've heard it's gotten better.
That's
like each season.
That's what Angus and Brittany Parker are both saying, that it got so much better. Brittany says, I like the show more with every season. And then Amy is on our team. I gave up after season 1. And then was like, it got better, ? So...
It was just so rough.
It was very rough, season 1. So I guess the deal I'll make is the most likely scenario is that I will catch up on my own, and then I will present it to Will whether or not we should start with season 3 maybe, or something, like restart with season 3.
I mean, maybe I can
make no promises. We are kind of full up at the moment.
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe we can put like season 2 on both of our, but I need to watch the Gilded Age.
Yeah. So that's the thing is we have so Rachel is gone, so he's gonna pick up the Gilded Age with me probably. When season 3 happens this year. We're doing Yellow Jackets and the White Lotus right now. After the White Lotus is over, we're gonna do The Last of Us. After that's over is when I'm imagining the Gilded Age is happening. We're going to do that. It's also Wednesday this year, Stranger Things this year, and that's all I can remember right now.
Wednesday, Netflix. Not
Wednesday.
The day.
Yes, Wednesday, Netflix, Stranger Things. So it's like we are already full up on like new live stuff, and then also we have big plans for what we're doing behind the scenes as well. So it's just like we're very full, and going back to something that we sort of like hardcore rejected is not currently on the table. I could maybe catch up and we could talk about it on the next live.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But I'm making no promises.
Because we have season 5 of Teen Wolf is coming in the next couple of weeks. And we have season 2 of Desperate Housewives that we need to finish, or that we need to start.
Yeah.
And we're still threatening to do Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
But I want to get Desperate Housewives going sooner rather than later because
it seems
we
popular.
Got really good feedback from that. And also it's been like more than a year.
Yeah. So. Also, yes, Sean, we have watched You on Netflix. I think almost every season we've talked about. We've covered
every season. And
yeah. Some of it would be on just our podcast feed. But yeah, we have covered every season. So if that is this year as well, we'll be covering the final season of that. And Angus said that's so many shows. It is so many shows. Amy says our White Lotus reviews are great. Thank you so much. And neither of us have read The Wheel of Time.
No.
No.
I just was going to shout out Amy again. Yeah. She's so good to us. So
round of applause for Amy. We have not read the books. We had a friend, and they were her favorite books. And I started one of them.
Like 3 times, didn't you?
I couldn't do it. And there's like 16 books, and I just like, I couldn't get there.
They were too wordy. It was
way too wordy. And so it's just like, it's just not totally my vibe. I am willing, I have thought about catching back up. I just haven't done it. So we'll see. I cannot promise coverage.
Let me put it this way. The only reason why I'm tempted to go back is I know we get a lot of like witches and dresses.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
And so
Brittany said that's a lot too. Yes, thank you. We are busy. And I have a full-time job, and my husband has a full-time job, and he's learning IT, and Will is editing like more than half of our stuff.
Well, I'm also working,
and he's working
more than I ever have.
And and then he has to drive an hour to get here to do this. So it's like, yeah, we've got like a lot.
It's not a complaint. It's just
because
we genuinely do love doing it, but it's just contextualizing.
Yeah.
And sometimes even something that you love, you're like, Christ.
Yeah. And the other thing too is I don't ever want people to be like to get upset that we're not doing the thing that they like.
Part of it is frustration on our part because we wish we could.
I wish I could. Yeah.
Like we wish we could do everything.
Yeah.
But are there any other questions? I feel like we're
wrapping up pretty quick. So if you've got some more stuff, put it in now. Brown Bunny says they love our Caucasian Lotus reviews. You're not wrong.
Is that us or just the show?
Both. I feel
okay.
Like, And then the Jumper says, what superhero movie are you most excited for coming up in 2025? Thunderbolts, Superman, or Fantastic Four? Or,
honestly...
Or are we burnt out with all the superhero stuff?
Absolutely burnt out. Excited's not the word, but I am curious.
I am curious.
For all three. Yeah. I would love to love.
Yeah.
Honestly, all three of them.
All three of them. Yeah.
I'm a little bit... And maybe this is the aforementioned contrarian part, but I'm a little bit in on Superman. And I think it's...
I think it could work.
I have a challenging relationship with James Gunn, but I feel like I feel like the things that I like about him, he's leaning into for this.
Sure.
And I wish you could buy stock in celebrities, because if you could, I would have bought stock in David Cornsweet after The Politician, and I feel like it would have already risen.
Yeah.
And I truly, I mean, unless he biffs it, unless he absolutely faceplants, I think he's going to be huge. I think it's going to be huge.
And it so far doesn't look like a faceplant.
No. And I'm glad that they're doing fantasy. I'm glad that they're leaning into the craziness of it all.
Yeah. I feel basically the same way. I think if I had to pick one I was the most excited for, it would weirdly be Thunderbolts.
Because we know we're gonna get Florence Pugh, we're gonna get Sebastian Stan, we're gonna get Wyatt Russell, we're gonna finally
David Harbour.
We're gonna finally get Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Doing something.
I would love for her to mean something. Yeah. For her character to do anything. Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that James Gunn is gonna merge the Batman with his universe. I think they're separate. I think I think the Batman is separate.
That's the way they have explained it to us up until this point.
Yeah.
They could do whatever they want, especially if they think they can make money doing it.
Well, he is now like the Kevin Feige of DC, so
I guess we'll see. I would be cautiously optimistic. I think Robert Pattinson would actually probably look really good standing next to David Cornsweet.
Yeah.
And Robert and the Batman is so serious.
Yeah.
And so dark. And the more I talk about it, the more I love it. So
no, I would be down for sure.
And we could get Zoe Kravitz in.
Will we watch the new Dexter show? Probably not.
I never finished on. I think it's already on.
It's already over.
Yeah,
season 1 is already over.
I planned on it, and then here we are.
Because Sarah Michelle Gellar, we like Sarah Michelle Gellar, but yeah, I mean, I have no big plans. I do have now a subscription to Paramount Plus, so maybe. I started watching actually so many things, kind of like by myself. Oh no, not the prequel one. There's another like after, like, is it a sequel? I don't know about that. The sequel series. No clue. I never finished the OG one.
Yeah.
I did see John Lithgow's doing a Trinity Killer season. Or something. Something about it. Which I find strange, but whatever. And James is very excited for this Sunday's White Lotus and thinks we're going to get the big incest scene in this new episode.
Have we not gotten it?
They kiss on the mouth.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's this Dexter show called? She says the cast is stacked. No, not Original Sin. Then Dexter Resurrection. Okay. Michael C. Hall, Peter Dinklage, John Lithgow, Kristen Ritter, Uma Thurman, David Dastmalchian, James Remar again, Neil Patrick Harris, Eric Stonestreet, David Zayas. Those are all the people I know.
It's a regular King of Kings.
I'm so sad about that. It makes me so sad. Oh, how did they all get to, how they get signed up for that? Yeah, I don't know. I never finished Dexter, so I would probably want to do that first.
From what I've heard, I feel like you don't need to. People don't love it, and if
we quit, I think
I saw the first 2 or 3 episodes of the final season, but then I never did.
So I didn't do that. I know one thing that happens. So I think what happened is when it was, because now we all have Spectrum. Well, now we have Hulu for cable, but we had Spectrum for a little while. But then we had Bright House at the time, and Bright House was having
beefing with Showtime,
bad negotiations with CBS, because it was a CW problem too. Mm-hmm. And so Showtime, we lost Showtime in the middle of the Colin Hanks and Edward James Olmos season, and we just never picked it back up after the negotiations went through.
I think we give too much power to...
Yeah.
We have ceded too much power to the worst people in the world.
I agree. Oh, Sean says, no, you don't need to finish the OG series. That series finale was bad.
Yeah, I've heard that. That I'm like, if he's apparently alive, then I'm just going to bypass it.
Oh, and then Angus says the season 3 House of the Dragon started filming today.
Did it?
That's interesting. Yeah. And Brown Bunny's going to watch True Detective soon. You definitely should. True Detective is amazing.
So it's on my list because I've only watched Night Country. I do that every single fucking time.
Actually, to be fair, Will and I never finished season 2, but we've watched 1, 3, and 4. Yeah.
But multiple people have told me I should watch the first one.
It's
because
so good.
Because I said that I was like, I want a murder mystery with like good acting and writing and stuff, and I want it to be a little bit spooky.
It's
like
pretty
supernatural.
It's pretty
like
spooky.
a little bit, not a lot. But
well, it's like, you know that one sound. It's like, you ever think the wind is trying to tell us something and we just can't hear it? And he goes, I just want you to stop saying odd shit. That's like from that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because people are agreeing with me and us with Yellow Jackets, where it's like, I know we're probably not going to get supernatural, and I don't want like a big supernatural thing, but I want a little bit of
It's
supernatural.
similar to that.
Yeah.
Where there's like thingies, like dolls kind of like made out of sticks.
Well, Night Country was
and you're like,
supernatural adjacent.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Sean, you've tried season 1 of True Detective so many times. I can get how it might be alienating. It's very Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. It's like,
well, then watch Night Country. It was
great.
Night
Country was fantastic. Like, really, I would say Night Country and season 1 are my favorites, having not finished season 2. But like, they were very, very good, both of them.
Who's season 3? Is it Mahershala in season 3?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it was also very good. I can't discount that. It's just like, but also like season 1 and Night Country kind of are connected.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've heard that.
Yeah. I think you should binge all 3 seasons of Yellow Jackets.
Who?
Sean. Yeah.
How have you not?
Definitely you should. And then you should watch our episodes about them.
Yeah. Season 1 is on Netflix. I don't know if 2 is.
Not yet. That's why I had to get Paramount.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, of Butterflies and Books, we are very unfortunately signing
Literally.
off very quickly. So sorry. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm I just want another season of True Detective.
Mm-hmm.
Angus, was season 2 of Mayfair Witches better than season 1? Because season 1 was bad, and that's why we didn't do season 2. Oh, and then someone also asked us about season 2 of Interview with the Vampire.
It's coming.
It is coming. I did recently look at it, and it said season 3 wasn't coming till next year, so we put it a little closer to the back burner just so that we could get through some of the other stuff that we've been meaning to do sooner. It will definitely be out before season 3 premieres, because we're going to do season 3 live.
We also said it at the beginning. I'll go ahead and say it now. We will be presently, soon, we are going to be watching Netflix The Residence.
Yes, yeah.
And we're going to be watching it on the Patreon. And we will probably do an episode or 2 on YouTube.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch along with us, stay tuned for that. It's coming in a matter of days.
Yeah. We also are, of Butterflies and Books, still going to be revisiting Once Upon a Time, but it is not on the back burner, but it is like 2 or 3 shows behind at the moment. It is still definitely a priority because we both think it's very funny. And it's gonna be funny to watch, but it's taken a backseat again, unfortunately. But yes, it will be coming. So yeah. Well, yeah. I think I'm good. I'm gonna go eat some pizza and watch an overpriced movie. We are going to be doing a weekly coverage of The Last of Us, and I think since my husband is doing Daredevil with me, and he offered to do Andor today, if anybody wants us to watch.
I keep hearing
Andor.
stuff about how good Andor is.
Season 1 is the best Star Wars show they've put out so far, for sure. So all I was going to say is if for whatever reason Will can't make it into town, it'll be like last season where Rachel stepped in, but this time my husband will probably step in. But yeah, we will do it. And yes, Sean, I have watched all of the current episodes of Southern Charm. I cannot currently get into it at this moment. I am having so many feelings. I hate JT. with the Fire of a Thousand Suns, and I don't know how he got Vanita this far up his ass. That's my biggest thing. The last 5 minutes with Paige and Craig. I definitely can't get into that right now. If you still want to know my feelings about Paige and Craig, we'll talk about it in the next live, because then I think all the reunions will have aired as well. So we'll do that. Apparently it was all planned for the show. The JT and Vanita stuff or the Paige and Craig stuff? I'm like, what's that? Brittany, we did not watch Temptation Island, but we did watch Trixie and Katya watch Temptation Island, and it was worth it.
Also, I missed Traders.
Yeah, we do miss Traders. I think Will and I might still have one season of Canada, but we actually got into this, it's basically Bake Off, but it's pottery, so it's like the Great Pottery Throwdown. We're like 3 seasons into that. It is so wholesome and amazing, and like 5 seasons of it are on HBO Max. Okay, JT and Vanita. Oh no, Will says we're done with Canada. So yeah, we are completely caught up on Traders. I didn't know he was still watching this. Yeah, okay, so apparently JT had a girlfriend the whole time he filmed. I totally agree, and so I'm just so on Vanita's team, because basically this is what happened. They had a scene where she had him over for dinner and cooked him a branzino, which is a fish.
Okay.
And he basically was like, I can't be in this. I have a girlfriend. So then in the next episode of the show, they all go to the Bahamas for this trip, which was fucking hilarious. All of the Shep stuff. We'll get into that in a minute. So they all take this trip to the Bahamas, and then she goes to his hotel room and basically tries to bounce on it, and so it made her look like this homewrecker, and she had to release a statement
I heard about this
in the wild, and was like, the way that the producers edited this is not the way it happened. The Branzino dinner happened after we got home from the Bahamas. I would never do that, and now I look like this. And insane. Literally insane. Also, I absolutely cannot with the shark tooth necklace from Shep. That is so insane that he gave it to Taylor, and then he gave it to Sienna, and Taylor is like modeling it on some website, and he still gave it to another girl who doesn't like him, who's 20 years younger than him, and that text message made me want to turn inside out. It's insane.
So all you need to be on a reality show is to be reasonably attractive and have the audacity.
Basically,
okay.
Yeah. I am very tempted, because I don't want to make him watch all 9 seasons. I'm very tempted to make him watch Southern Charm from like when Catherine leaves, because I think there's like a divide.
Here's
there.
my thing. My tolerance for reality TV is a little bit.
I'm not saying cover it. I'm just saying that way we can talk about it.
But it's like because even something like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills that I like, I can only watch them have the same fight so many times a season, let alone season after season after season.
Yeah.
Like, I can only watch Sutton clear the air and decide from this moment on we're sisters. Like, so we need to get all of the bad blood out now so that we can move forward as sisters. And it's like, she does this like 3 times a year. Like,
okay, I will say she has not been on her best behavior, but like, I cannot stand Dorit this season. Dorit is my villain origin story right now. Okay, let's see. Oh, Sean says there's a new show coming out on Netflix, which is supposed to be like The Traitors, coming next week. Okay, interesting. Oh, Sean, you're on Dorit's side. Literally how? Oh, I don't understand. I'm not on Dorit's side at all. So the thing that we can definitely wrap up, because it's after right now.
I was like, I need some water.
Yeah. I
mean, you can keep going if you're having a good time. I'm gonna go get some water.
Here's your cup too. You have water in there, yeah. Dorit, I just think is like, she is placing blame in the wrong spot. Like I think Sutton is right. Like, Dorit is angry, but she's not angry at Sutton. She's angry at her life, because her life sucks. And she is being way too naive about this divorce with PK. I don't know. That's where I'm at. Oh, so my husband and I are planning to watch Hacks, James. We haven't yet, and I don't know if there will be any coverage of it, but we do know it's good, so we will most likely watch that. I'm really curious though, like what about Dorit? Like, why are you on her side? Also, is my husband still watching? Because maybe he could come in here, because Will went to the bathroom too, and now I'm all by myself. Just watch the YouTube recaps. That's how I get my intake of reality TV. So much better than watching the full season. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. There is a lot of, like, the same thing over and over, and also the way they edit it kind of does that too, which is very frustrating. And then I'm not sure if Will watched Denise Richards seasons. He didn't go back and start at the beginning, I don't think. He started in the midst of the Erica Jane stuff, because Rachel was watching it. He said he's seen Denise Richards' first season.
Like, I saw her wedding.
Saw her wedding. Okay. Yeah. And also, yes, Dorit and PK are divorcing. That's like a huge deal this season. And so that is basically why she's acting out. But then she's also claiming that she's not doing anything inappropriate in her behavior. She's just like, everyone's attacking me. And I'm like, no, you're being the worst as well. Okay, I am also over. So, okay, but this is the thing that we've talked about, and I've talked about it with Will, and I've talked about it with Rachel. For us, Garcelle, this is a job for Garcelle. Like, a lot of these women are on this because it's like, it's something that they're actually trying to do to, like, make this thing. But, like,
they don't have anything else.
They don't have anything else. But
Garcelle is using this as a stepping stone.
Garcelle is at work. And so that, I think she gets the reputation as, like, a pot stirrer. And, like, her defending Sutton, I think, is just to, like, keep the narrative, like, flowing. Because if all of them just were like, yeah, Sutton, you're being kind of a bitch, Dorit is in the right, then there's no forward momentum.
But she's also been, like, chummy with Sutton from the beginning.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that she would stick with her.
Both. I can't get over the fact that apparently all of them hate Jennifer Tilly. Because for me, she's the highlight of this
fake.
season.
Like,
I can't relate.
I saw somebody. I don't know if this is true, because I know that Kathy gets on your nerves.
I just think she's never not had money.
Okay, well, I saw
Garcelle
something.
Garcelle is a real person, and Kathy Hilton is a Muppet.
I saw something that said Jennifer Tilly is what Kathy Hilton thinks she is.
Sure, yes.
And then I saw an additional thing, because somebody was defending Kathy, and then somebody else, I think it was on Twitter, but somebody else was like, please, Kathy Hilton is... Oh, fuck. I forget how they worded it, but they're like, she's like a second away from jars of urine in the foyer.
Yeah.
Like
Kathy she's like in the first episode of this season, she's at a party and she's taking the weave out of her hair. And then she's like in the middle of Sutton's fashion show, in the middle of the runway, just like leaning over talking to somebody and they all are like, Kathy, sit the fuck down. It was she's a crazy person. Let's see. The Jumper, you're new here. How do you support us with money specifically? We have a Patreon. We also have a Cashapp, Venmo. I think that PayPal. I don't think we
Cashapp and Venmo.
Cashapp, Venmo.
But also just like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Comments. The subscribers.
That helps a lot.
I'm like desperate to get to double digits.
We're gonna this year. I think
this year's going really well. We have like a newfound sense of like purpose and direction.
Yeah.
And I still want to start working in shorts, but it's easier said than done sometimes.
Will's been putting some out, with our stuff. I agree with you. I think Bose is a great addition. I have been enjoying her stuff. I cannot accept any more reality shows at this moment, so I will not be watching Atlanta. I'm sorry. I am probably going to go back and watch The Valley, season 1 of The Valley, because the new stuff is starting. And I might have to watch season 1 of Vanderpump Villa because Stassi's going to be on season 2, and I have missed Stassi on my TV like so much. But yeah, okay. We can get out of this now. I think that is mostly it for us. We'll do a couple more minutes for any last minute-y stuff, but that was Reality Corner.
We usually do. Do a reality corner.
But we need to catch him up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I might insist you watch a couple seasons of Southern Charm, so you know. I'm
trying to. I've been to a series of like important doctor's appointments, so I'm like trying to like turn a fresh leaf.
Sure.
And I'm on some new medication, and I'm trying to wean myself off of current events and news.
Yes.
Because I still, unfortunately, check my phone first for like what crazy things happening now.
Yeah.
And it usually just derails my whole day.
Yeah.
So if I can learn how to
turn that off.
Yeah. Swap it with
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that is going to be it for us. I am officially starving, so we're going to go. Oh, yes, I did see Megan Fahey had a new movie coming out.
Does she?
Yes, it's called Drop. It's like an action movie.
I wonder if Sam Nivola is
Nothing, I just hate his dad.
Okay. I wonder if he's dating Iris
in real life.
Apatow.
Oh, okay.
But somebody asked him about what his favorite plot or like favorite part from the first 2 seasons.
Kissing Schwarzenegger?
No.
Oh, the first 2 seasons
of White Lotus. And he was like, well, everything Megan Fahey did. And I was like,
yeah.
That is a very I don't know if we have any straight men out there, but do you know who Megan Fahey is?
Yeah. Also, Brittany likes your shirt. Oh, it's the director who did Happy Death Day.
Ooh.
Okay, we will check it out. I didn't know that. I just saw a trailer for it like 2 days ago, and I was like, that looks kind of good.
Brittany likes my shirt.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's a great shirt.
Kristen got it for me. It's also
gonna watch this week's Summer House after this. It's pretty good. I will discuss Paige and Craig in the next live. You remember, and you ask me next time. But when we don't have,
I mean, we didn't have to go for an hour railing on.
But next time when we don't have Snow White to rail about, I will talk about it. I will talk about Paige and Craig. I also have such a soft spot for West, but Jesse Solomon gives me the ick this season. So, okay, we have to go, or we'll be here for another hour, and I have to eat dinner. So.
I'm obsessed with this little figure.
It's very cute. I love her little
chapeau.
Her little hat. Hi, Megan. I'm so sorry that you just noticed we're live. We love you too. We will be live again sometime next month. But this will also, if you want to watch the whole thing, this will go up on our page under the little live tab, so you can watch
it should, unless the trailer gets it pulled, but if that's the case,
it'll go to Patreon.
It'll go to the Patreon on for free. I just put it on there, so.
Yep. So yeah, usually I will say we basically do this about once a month. It's usually about in the middle of the month that we're like about a week late.
We certainly do it every other month.
Yeah.
Sometime, like I would say, we probably average like 9 or 10 times a year.
A year, yeah. But I would imagine we will, unless anything comes up, we will be doing this around the same time next month. It's usually a Saturday. It's usually at 6 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this every time,
Eastern.
but is that working for everybody, or should we?
Yeah, we had
it actually works for us. So.
We had a decent amount of people again this time, just like last time.
I don't know if earlier or later. Or...
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We're usually busy on Fridays, and we're usually busy on Sundays, so.
We also announce it on the community page, or like whatever it's called. Is it community still? Posts. So if you're subscribed to us on YouTube, you should see... It should come through your feed, and it'll just be like a text thing with like a picture. So, if you want to keep up with that. So, yeah. All right. I think that's it for us.
Bye.
Bye.